need to read nothing. I'm gonna listen.
I gave you the little thing to read. It's a little small thing. It's real short.
It ain't nothing. It's basic. It's not even 1 or 2 sentences. I guess I can read it. Oh, but crying.
Okay, showtime, buddy.
Dear world, you name it, we cover it from the world of singles to the behind the scenes of the greatest movie ever filmed, called Marriage. We dig into everything from dating 101. Why won't they commit? It's complicated. I can't do it if it's the 3 of us. They're a good person, but I'm not attracted to them in that way. 2, they really didn't disclose who they were before I said I do. How do I do this if they can't keep a job? The bills are paid, but the bedroom is suffering. Did I marry you or did I marry your family because we only can take care of us? Let's open up our marriage. Why do I have to buy into your beard gang illusion? You could have told me you were down low and we could have remained friends and not married. And last but not least, did you marry me or your pastor? Have we gotten your attention yet? If so, tune in to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, if you want to hear more of today's real issues in the world of love. The doors of the Love Church are now open.
All right, sir. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Charles Dixon, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford.
What's up, family, on this Thursday afternoon? I'm just trying to make it, man. I'm just trying to make it to the end. That's all I'm trying to do right now, man. I'm just trying to survive to the end with my sanity intact. Because this right here, Lord, help us. Lord, y'all praying today? I hope y'all praying because we need some.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, every show that we do has a purpose in the season. Now, we go around all of the seasons of the love alphabet, and this one is no different. It's a very relevant and prevalent type of topic. You know, it's just not something that's discussed often, but it's actually right in your face. Like it's one of those things that's in your face and you don't realize it's in your face, but it's right there. All right. So that's right, people. This is probably will be the last documented show of Unique Perspectives. After today, I'm sure we're gonna go way to the left, and then after that, you know what? Let's put a sign up and boycott them. That's it, and then that's gonna be the end of the show. But anyway, no. Today, today we are dealing with. I'm going to try to put on white gloves today, so that I can walk very gently through this without, try to keep me in line, until I go too far. But anyway,
you already went too far. What are you talking about?
So in short, what we're talking about today is the infiltration of sex toys or augmentations or whatever that you're adding to add spice, flavor, or whatever, or self-gratification. And the reason we're bringing this up, not that any of these things are crimes, we're just bringing them up as they have to do with, I guess, connection and relationships and marriage. Because really the whole crux of this is really about connection. And some of these things, whether we realize it or not, let's start with the men. Okay, let's just start with us. If men are highly, we're big on imagination, right? So this is where the whole thing comes from. If we're talking about men self-gratifying themselves, 9 times out of 10, then you got some people that are just some avid pros that if that's what they want to do, they're going to do that anytime, any day, any place, right? But most men, they're going to go somewhere, sit down, they're going to look at their porn, then they're going to start imagining. And they're looking at this image on the porn, and it's either something they like what she's doing or they like what she looks like. And then in their mind, they're imagining the rest. And then once that happens, he takes his own self to heaven on his own, right? Fine. Then you have women. You got some women who like porn too, but Women necessarily, I mean, they may like warning. You guys keep me honest, but women don't have a thought in their mind, and the rest of it is what they do with themselves to make whatever be what it is. And so women tend to have a bigger repository of inventory available to them. Now, Adam, in case on tonight, we could probably go, we can say 1, 2, 3, 4 house, 1, 2, 3, 5 house, and we can go into a master bedroom, and somewhere on a nightstand or tucked in a storage bin in a closet, you would find something to say, well, what is all of this? Are we in jail? I mean, what are these things? What I see chargers, batteries, plugs, roses. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so look.
I mean, you always put it out there, so
listen, it's no secret. Yes, men, there are things on the market that I guess can, men can tap into if that's what they want to invest in to have something like that. But 9 times out of 10, the pendulum sways to the side of a woman. Women have more things available to them to help them than we do. At period, like men got some Jergens lotion in their imagination. Women have all kinds of stuff. I mean, yeah, they don't. You ever notice there was a thing they brought out where they were doing these fake, like these blow-up dolls, these life-size dolls.
Right.
And for a minute, they were very popular when they first came out. Men was like, oh, I'm going to get me one. Then it just evaporated. Like men things, it just comes and goes. It's short-lived, and it's just that. But women, they have tons of things available to them for different experiences. And so the reason I'm tapping into this today is because I want to kind of bring to our mind, as the men and as women, are we considering how some of these things that we are implementing may affect our partners? And I say that because some people, one of the most popular things that happens in relationship between man and woman is somebody is always compromising. And that simply means when you bring it up that this is what you like, or this is what I would like to add to the experience, they may say, are you sure about this? Well, we could try it. But in the back of their mind, what in the blank are you talking about? I don't want to do this. But they're going to do it just to kind of go along. And the whole goal is to make your partner happy. So you're going to be like, okay, sure. And then this goes on. After a while, it becomes a third wheel. And so now it's like, okay, look, you and me together, you and me engaged, you and me in committed relationship, you and me married. But this has now graduated from you and I to us. And it's becoming a thing where we don't have those honest conversations to say, look, is this a we thing or a us thing? And if it's a us thing, let's discuss why it's an us thing. And some people will likely say, the people that are likely addicted to the us, whatever the us is, they're going to say, it's just fun. It's just you and me. But the other person is almost always, and I'll get into the meaning in a second, but the other person is always thinking there may not be enough here in whatever capacity as to why we need this, right? And so that's where the secret and the silent resentment begins. And so, and later in the show, we'll get into individual stuff, but we're just talking about right now when people implement them into their unions. You get my drift?
Yeah. So yeah. This right here. This is why we need to have pre-production meetings before the actual show. But anyway. Oh my God. So yeah, listen. So when it comes to sexual toys in the bedroom, of course, I am a staunch believer that you should be married, of course, before there is any sexual activity. I don't believe in having sex outside of marriage. Okay. And so if you're married and you want to, I guess, have other toys to enhance or to augment your sexual intercourse or whatever like that, then okay, fine. As long as there is a conversation that has been had, that has taken place between the two of you, and the both of you agree on what you want to do. The both of you agree and communicate as to what you are going to do and what you're not going to do. That absolutely has to be a conversation, because you don't want the other partner to feel as though that they're being made to do something that they don't feel comfortable with, that they're being coerced into something that they don't want to do themselves. And so it's important that as we love our partners, that we talk to them and that we have honest, transparent communication with them as to what we're thinking about in terms of what we want to include in our sexual intercourse and things of that nature. So if you're gonna, in terms of what Charles is trying to do, I think one of the things he's trying to introduce is the fact that often what happens is when we introduce these toys, they have a tendency to, or rather, we have a tendency to substitute the people for the toy.
Yeah.
And that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's not that. But here's the thing, though, Charles. We often do this with a whole lot of other things that are in our life as well. We will substitute inanimate objects because we don't want to necessarily have an emotional connection or relationship with a person. And so we'll have that object be the stand-in, if you will, for the actual person. But ladies and gentlemen, we were not designed that way. We were not created that way. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, we have a tendency, especially when somebody's getting close to us, we don't want that closeness. We don't want that connection. We want the thrill and we want the experience of having sexual intercourse, but we don't want the emotional or the spiritual connection that comes along with that. Let me put that to the side. Let me say this from the beginning of this conversation. I think often when we talk about sex, we always kind of reduce it to this physicality, if you will. And we don't often recognize that sex is, how can I put this? It's more than just the physical. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a very spiritual thing that happens. It's a very emotional thing that happens. And often what we do is we end up marginalizing or just reducing sex to just the physicality of it. But we never really recognize or pay attention to the spiritual aspects and the emotional aspects of sex. These are the things that we don't account for. Okay. And this is the reason why when you're talking about using toys and things of that nature, you're depriving yourself of the actual experience. You're trying to substitute one thing for the next thing. And one thing is just paling in comparison to the actual thing. And now you because you've done this, now all you want is just the experience without anything else that goes along with it. But if you really think about it, when sex is properly done within the parameters of a loving marriage and relationship, it's supposed to reinforce those loving feelings. It's supposed to reinforce that connection that you have with that person. Okay, but when you extract that and just make it the physical activity, now you're just left with something that well, you're just going through the motions at this point. You're going through the motions without the emotion of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that we need to be careful about in terms of doing that kind of thing.
Yes. Well, the $1 billion industry says, forget about it, Adam. It's going to happen. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what?
Listen, no, I'm kidding. But listen, so what I'm saying, okay, let's click it now. All right.
Yeah.
I believe if we take it back, if we had to go back and say to ourselves, where did this notion even come from? Like, as long as there's been men, woman, and they both had body parts, right? So where did this additional notion to add spice come from? But that's really, when you think about toys, it comes from the mindset of let's add a little, like it's like your food. You know, you go to some restaurants and they'll sell, the food will be good, but it comes out bland.
Okay.
When it comes out bland, you're saying, what kind of seasonings do you have here so that I can dress this up to my liking? Okay. So I think in some situations, some people look at sex that way. Okay. But if I had to go back, there's two ways I could imagine this industry being birthed. Somebody was experiencing the absence of someone else, right? A little too long. And when you think about, if you start out being intimate and close and all of these things, and then for whatever reason, distance is in the picture, whether it is by force, default, or choice, somebody is left with those physical residual feelings. And they're like, how this person, I've heard people say things like, oh, you can't open up this Pandora's box unless you're going to keep doing something about it. Like, I'm fine by myself. But if you're going to mess with me, now you're opening up my expectations. Okay. And when these expectations are opened up, now if the person is not there to address or tend to them, now that temptation is greater to say, well, something got to happen.
All right. Okay.
And then so now someone says, aha, I can't have this particular man, because the first toys that came out were toys that were for women, right? They were prostagenics of men and different things like that. And it just went off, and the rest of the show was history. So you got all of that. And then the other side of it is there are some people, believe it or not, that just like escalated experiences. Now, where that comes from, I can't tell you, right? But some people like an extra experience. You could come in the door thinking you ready to just do what you need to do and lay things down accordingly. And then the person would still say, that was good, but have you ever seen something like this and this? And what are those for? For me. And then you just like, but anyway, so the point is, we get into these, it's a gamble, because all women and all men are different. So when you connect, you may have a man who he's not going to talk about doing any kind of self-pleasure aside from being with his woman, right? And then you're going to talk, then there are some women that will have a man, or a man that will have a woman, and they will still do their self-practice.
Okay.
Still do it. So I remember being young, and so Bruce always talks about the dudes on the block who used to talk to us. But I'm going to tell you one of the things I remember from the block coming up as a young boy, that what we were told. They used to, when we be playing basketball or football, and after we corral, when it's over with, we talking, the old dudes would say, man, which one of y'all having sex? Who, they ask us who's having sex or whatever. And then you always got the young boy saying, I did. I'm out here doing this, that, and the other. And so what they would always say, especially when we were in high school and get ready to go to college or whatever, they would say, we're going to tell you this. If you go out on a date with a young lady, they said, always clean your own house before you go out. And what they were saying was, when you clean your own house before you go out and see a lady, you're not desperate. Right. You're not overexcited. And if you get in, this is where the game came in. Okay. And if you get into a scenario where y'all having sex, you won't be premature because you already did it at home.
Okay.
And so it comes across as the second go round, but she just doesn't know that. She thinks it's the first go round, but it's the second go round, and you're different the second go around. I never forgot that. I thought that was crazy, but they told us that when we was young. They were like, don't ever go out on a date full. Okay. Always go out on a date empty. Now, if my mother would have heard me, she would have took us to the altar. But anyway, remember that. So the point is, from that point on in life, everybody has developed their own appetites, their own vices, their own tools for the trade, if you will, their own toys. Everybody has their own stash and story about how they get down. Right. Now, I would challenge the question to say, if we become addicted to these things, whatever these vices are, we have to keep in mind there is a distinct difference between a human and a device, right?
Right.
Devices run off of batteries,
Right.
whether it's for the man or for the woman.
Right.
And no human can compete with a device that's battery powered, right? You just can't. I don't care on your good day, you come in the house doing whatever you're doing. But with a woman, like a men, we fool ourselves. We think, oh, I'm strong, I'm about to come and do this, that, and the other. But the trick that gets us men separated from this toy industry is women know exactly what they want and exactly how they want. Okay. And so when they're using these devices, the device is not giving them no pushback. The device is not stopping too soon, right? The device is doing exactly what they're doing. They want them to do, unless it's unplugged or the battery is dead. Right. Other than that, the experience is consistent. So it's always consistent. And for a man, yeah, he can go home and he can think up things and do stuff to himself. But that's going to be after a while. That experience is different every time because you ain't thinking about the same thing every time. So that's neither here or there. That's different for a man. But for women, that experience can be consistent because they're controlling it. And in their mind, they're like, this is what I like and this is the way I like. Thus the reason. Well, that's a whole nother show. I won't go into that. But anyway, that's the reason for a lot of things that are nuances today. They're happening the way they are because one side of the sex already know what that same side likes. So it's a convenience that works. Okay. But nonetheless, and so what we have to understand is in this whole thing like this, it gets to a point where we have to say we have to be careful the addictions we develop. Because if we're developing addictions that call for an intermediary, then that's like saying, so I guess we can throw the notion of normalcy out the window and we constantly need something extra. You know what I'm saying? And so I looked at something earlier. I was reading something earlier and it says a mere toy can't take anything away from a couple's sexual relationship. Then it said, if anything, it will spice up and spark an otherwise dull union. Now, here is the question, though. Okay. Who says what spice is? If you go down in the grocery store, the spice aisle is just plentiful. Right. There's all kinds of spices. So this is the problem we run into. Spice is spice and season is season, but what do we stop at? Like a toy may be okay for, let's just say a toy is okay for one, but a real body is okay for the other one. Do you understand what I'm saying? If we can bring a toy, let's bring in Samantha, Derek, and everybody else. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it gets kind of out there. And so this is why we have to kind of manage that personally. And I think one of the problems I think a lot of women run into is because if you're a single woman or if you're a woman that swears by your own self-pleasure, when you run into a relationship, sometimes there is that clash because the relationship is not meeting up to the personal standards. You get the personal things that happen. Okay. The person is not doing the same thing or not delivering the same experience. Okay. And in our mind, we're mad at the human because they're not doing what the machine's doing. So we gotta go ahead.
No, because my question would be, so why aren't you saying to that human, hey, I want to be fulfilled, or I want to be satisfied in this way? Why is that not a conversation? Now, granted, I'm just kind of presupposing that I want to be with this person, they want to be with me. So why isn't this a conversation? Or why get involved with anybody in the first place if that's the case? Why not just have my augmentations, have my, things that bring me gratification and just use those? Here's where I'm going with this. Why do I even need to be involved with anybody? I can just be on my own, doing my own thing when I want to, how I want to, how often as I want to. Why should I even consider being connected to anybody?
Wow. Well, that's the whole purpose of that industry. It's a dual industry. It's for spice. On one hand, you want to add spice, and on the other side, it services the single. That's what it does. It's spice for the couple and service for the single. Okay. And so it's one of those things where if the person is not active or not doing nothing, whatever, for long periods of time, then they have this stash of self-maintenance and they deal with it. And the man, he has this, if he's into whatever he's into, his visual aids, whatever, there you go. And so you got them on both sides. And so, I just think that I think the bigger question is it realistic to say, and like you said earlier, yes, ideally intimacy is for the marriage bedroom, but we know it's happening outside.
I know.
So I'm saying that to say, with that being said, why is it that if we're in between relationships, divorced or single, is it that we just have to climax, or is it something that we have just it's just become a regular expectation? And if that expectation isn't happening, we have to make it happen. That's what I be wondering a lot of times, because it be seeming like a lot of times that it's unheard of. Yeah, I might be single, but I'm not being handled, if you get my drift.
Right. So, right. Because you're used to it happening now, particularly if you've been in a relationship before. You're used to that occurrence happening, however frequently that it happens. And now that there isn't anybody there to make it happen for you, you make it happen for yourself. And so now, again, I'm gonna come off from the opposite side of this. Yeah, I think I kind of need to do it just to kind of
help with the third person.
Help me with it. Why do I need anybody else, Charles? If I'm going to have my toys and they're going to get me to where I need to be, they're going to service me, they're going to maintenance me, and that's all that I really want, why should I look to be connected to any other person? Honestly, because if I can do what I need to do on my own, how I want to do it on my own, I don't see the need. I don't see the need to be connected to anybody. What's the point? If I'm going to reduce, and here I'm going to be real rough with this. I'm going to be rough with it today. Since we're going to go here, let's go here. I don't need anybody else to satisfy me. Okay, to make me climax. Then I can have my toys and I can do it as much as I want to. I don't need anybody else. I don't need any other connection. I don't need to be in a relationship. I got this augmentation. I got this extra enhancement. I'm good, right? Am I good?
Hey, I think you're bringing up a good point, but I think we're missing the other side of it, which I'm sure you're going to have something good to say for this. But the other side of it is this. That kind of life of enhancement is just addressing one element, the bedroom. People want emotional security. They want companionship. They want friendship. I want someone I can go to nice restaurants with. I want to be able to take good trips with. And none of that has anything to do with devices.
So I can't bring my vibrator to the daggone dining? I can't bring my vibrator to the Applebee's? I know y'all say I know. Lena said she didn't want me to be uncomfortable. I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm moving out of the uncomfortableness to the comfortableness. Y'all don't really want this guy to come out because you really don't. Because here's my point with this. I'm gonna keep on. Let me stay on this one right. So why can't I bring my sex doll to the Applebee's with me?
Some of them do right in their purse. In some cases, it'd be right in the purse.
Yeah. Why should I need to be with anybody? If I can find my own sexual satisfaction through a toy or an augmentation or whatever I have, why do I need anybody else in my life?
Wow.
I'm asking
That's the big question. Yeah.
Everybody that's in the comments that's watching right now, I need you to weigh in. I need you to chime in. Let's talk. Let's have the daggone conversation. Let's go.
Why do you need another person? I see what you're saying.
Why do I need another person? Why do I need another person? Because here's the thing, though. Because people come with complications. Yeah. People come with mess. Yeah. People come imperfect and with flaws. Why do I want to invite that in my life? If I can get what I need to get when I want to get it, as frequently as I want to get it, why should I open the door to anybody else to come back into my life?
Wow.
Help me understand. I want to know.
Well, Melina says earlier, a second ago, she says sometimes there may be a lack of strong sexual chemistry between people, but they can still have other valuable qualities.
Okay.
So yeah, but I mean, like you said, but I hear what you're saying. You're saying be that as it may. From what I think you're saying is, if all of your stock is in this augmentation or this side element, then why do you need to deal at all?
Right. Why should I deal with people? Period. Yeah. Why? I mean, come on now. Let's talk about it. Let's be real with it. And again, understand, if that's your thing and it's within your relationship and you guys have had a conversation about it and you guys are good with it, by all means, I'm at it. You know what I'm saying? I guess my thing is I'm pointing it more toward those who are almost exclusively substituting their device for an actual person.
Wow.
That's where I'm kind of going with this, because I think if you're not careful, the thing that is helping you to get over the hump ends up becoming an issue for you later on down the line, to the point where you're no longer able to connect to anybody, because all of your connection is to the device and not the people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just kind of want to see where everybody's at on this.
Yeah. Mayana says people are neurological wired for some type of connection. So in other words, I'm in the basement, but I need to come up for some sun and talk to some people. Then I'm going back to the basement, right? So I see what you're saying. It still makes us develop this kind of quote unquote weird existence.
We have a dependency on it now. We become dependent on something that we should not become dependent on. And now we got this thing now where we almost Charles, and I'm not even really almost. It is, and now it has become somewhat of an addiction to us now.
Yeah.
To the point where now we can't even survive physiologically. We can't make it a day without it. You're so dependent on this particular aspect that you can't make it a day without it. Again. I'm not trying to yuck nobody's yum. I'm not trying to mess up your life. All I'm saying is, if I got all these other things that are helping me, supposedly, that are helping me, then why do I need people?
Wow.
Why do I need a person to connect with or talk to? Man, please.
Yeah. I personally think that however sometimes we evolve to these places to use and need these things, I think for people that are quote unquote, I'm only going to speak for the side that's maybe in between a relationship or fresh out of a marriage or whatever, I believe some people look at it as a safe means to maintain themselves rather than going all out in the street and being at the bars and clubs and going home with this one and that one. They're thinking to themselves, if you're a woman, I can do this myself. And if you're a guy, you can go home and build up your collection and do you. So it just depends. But I mean, that's one side of it. I think people have these emotions that they don't know what to do with them. And so if they're finding themselves in these moods and they're having these emotions and they're waking up feeling away, rather than picking up a phone, I can just go into the nightstand. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So I'm driving my point because I want us to understand that if we're not careful, that we will allow certain things to come into our lives and the intention is good. We don't necessarily want to always have to depend on somebody else to do whatever it is they do for us. But this is the human condition, everybody.
Yeah.
I need to be connected to somebody.
Yeah.
The device is only taking care of one aspect of who I am as a person. If you are a person, you have multiple aspects. You are multidimensional in terms of how you are and how you operate. Okay. Yeah. And so this one aspect cannot be the end all be all of how you move and live in this world. It can't just be the one thing. And again, I understand, single people, man, I was there when I was divorced. I was there before I got married the first time. I understand about that. I get that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there has to be something that says, this is not enough. This is only meeting the need. The
interim need.
In the interim of what I'm in and what I'm going through in terms of my singleness. Oh, I'm about to mess up some people with this too. And even in some marriages, you're not as connected as you should be. And so you use other things to supplement other people to supplement. But the reality is, at some point in time, you got to really have a conversation now.
Yeah.
I got to talk to you. I understand about the risk of trying to enter into a relationship, because now once I get involved with another person, I'm running the risk of getting my heart broken. I'm running the risk of some stuff happening. I'm running the risk of some stuff blowing up in my face when I get involved with another person. But ladies and gentlemen, you can't live this life without risk. If that's the case, stay in the bed. Don't come out the room.
Don't go outside. Don't come outside.
Don't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Relationships are a risk. But I will say this, relationships are a risk worthwhile.
That's good.
They are worthwhile. I know it's scary at the beginning. God knows it's scary. It's scary in the middle. It's look, it's scary right now.
Right.
But it's worth the risk, man. It is worth the risk. Yeah. I just caution us. I admonish us to be very just careful when we're doing these kind of things and we're not considering the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far into that, because then we'll go into Sunday school. But I think there are some things that we need to be aware of. And like I said before, sex is more than what we think that it is.
Yeah.
It's not just the climax.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to talk. Let's talk. It is the journey. It's how you get there. Okay. Yeah. And don't you want to be there with somebody? You know what I'm saying? All right. I'm going to shut up for a minute.
I mean, you said some good stuff. I think, like I said, it's a tough road. It's probably a tough conversation to be had, because if we think about this has been going on for years. Like it has escalated today because the amount of things available and the capabilities has escalated.
Right.
Like with some of these things, it's like to some people, it's like the next best thing since sliced bread. So it's almost phasing out. It's interesting that you point to that connection piece, and I keep coming back to that because it's almost like a lot of the things being manufactured today and being promoted today are things that promote divisiveness. And it does not, it divides us.
Okay.
It's not promoting connection, because think about it. If you're, like I said, unless you are, like you said earlier, unless you are a couple that have just both are on the same page and you love this toy chest of things, right? If that's your thing, great, right? You should have no problem. There's no issue.
Right.
But for those who use it as an alternative of survival, that's where you run the risk.
Yeah.
And you run it. It's one thing to say, me and my husband, we go down into the fun room and we have ourselves a time, and then we go back upstairs. That's your thing. That's what your survival mechanism is. Great.
Right.
But for some people, it hits differently because they're like, look, I'm not in a serious relationship. I just got out of this, that, or the other. I am a sensual person. I like intimacy. I like sex, but I'm not with anyone I'm doing this with right now. So this is why I tap into this.
Got it.
And the thing is, so let's talk about the cons. Okay, the pros are you like they told us when we was a kid, you not walking around full. Now, I'm gonna say, I think you do make better decisions when you're not full.
Okay.
When you're full, your thinking is desperate. Mm-hmm. When you're empty, your thinking is relaxed. Okay. You make better decisions when you're not full.
Right. And to that point, though, I want to flip it over for a hot second. So when what is it? I know it's boxers and I know it's MMA fighters.
Yeah, they tell you
they don't have sex before a big fight because that actually causes them to lose a little focus.
Correct. And it takes away from their legs.
Exactly.
It takes away from their legs. So, but see, think about it. If we weren't fighting, but we was just living life, going out and having a good time, you're not thinking about your agility and your ability to stay on your feet. You're just out walking around and being normal.
True.
The problem is in a fight, if you're weakened in a certain part of your body, you're going to get exposed and taken advantage of.
It's that. But then, like I said, I think some of it too has to do with the fact that you now have lost focus on what your job is and what you're supposed to be doing, what you're trying to accomplish. Because now, if you think about it, you're distracted. All the way up until this point in time, I've been training, I've been working out, I'm ready for this fight. But now I'm thinking about my girl that I was just with the night before, and my brain is not quite right. You know what I'm saying? And so now it's just kind of all over. I just wanted to bring that part out because I wanted to flip that over to the other side as well. Here's the thing that I'm kind of hinting at too, and that is the fact that I know we don't want to hear this part. I know y'all are probably gonna tune me out on this part, but just go ahead and give me the booze now. Give me the booze now. But I think we lack self-control. We lack self-discipline.
Yeah,
we are a society that has been constructed around the idea of pleasure for me, pleasure now.
That's it.
Regardless of the cost or what I have to do to get there, it's all about me getting the pleasure I want now, which means I'm not going to use any self-control or self-discipline on myself to control me. And here's the thing, though. Again, I'm going to get a lot of booze, but we allow our bodies to dictate what we should and should not do.
Yeah.
You see a picture on TV, somebody's making out. You're not controlling your body. You're not controlling your mind from what you're seeing and what you're experiencing. You're just letting your body go on its own. We are a society that lacks self-control. We see it with people who drink too much. You know what I'm saying? Or people who eat too much. The same is true for the whole sexual activity thing. Where's your self-control? I'm just saying.
I think it is because the lack of self-control is what's being promoted.
Okay.
If we had commercials and infomercials where there was like, stop and think before you do that, there could be costly ramifications. If we saw that enough, we'd be like, you seen that commercial, man? I ain't doing that no more. But nowadays, you got everything from men. You saw Cialis. Look at Hims for men. You don't need your doctor. And then you got these, you look on Instagram, you got these women saying, I bought my boyfriend Hims and we were up all night. So everything is promoting sensuality, sex, and satisfaction everywhere you look. And then on top of that, everything is being over-sexualized because you look everywhere you look, every movie. Think about all the new series that are coming out, all the new shows that are coming out. I don't care if it's Tyler Perry or any other type of movies or shows. Everybody is always in full everybody is it's presenting these unnormal presentations. Nobody's hair is cut the whole movie and the whole show, and you and made up, right? The girl's hair is all done and laid to the side. Makeup is perfect. You got a specific hue of women, a specific hue of men, and everything looks perfect. So it makes the viewers like, oh, I need to have this. So it has the viewers lusting because it's not a normal show anymore. It's a production to seduce.
Okay.
So we all are walking around here, and so we looking at these shows come on there like All the Queen's Men and all these other things that are like your Tubi. But anyway, all these other shows that have all of these things, that's all it is just showing body and naked and handsome, pretty, cute, sexy. That's all in your face. And so when you look around and you can't even scroll or look on your TV or cable nowhere without something alluding to connection and being together and intimacy, it drives folks crazy. So what people do is when they turn their things off, they go into their secret place and not to pray. So they go into their secret place and they do what they do to pass the moment until the next time. And that's what happens. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I get that, and yeah, because there's a lot of media. Well, you know what? Not just in the media, but just with the advent of social media, things are so geared, so over sexualized, so sensual. There is definitely difficulty in terms of kind of filtering all through that. I even find myself now if I'm ever on my phone and I'm on YouTube and certain ads pop up, I'm actually blocking ads. I spent like a whole 2 or 3 days just blocking ads, because I'm like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
I don't want that in my headspace. You know what I'm saying? If there's certain TV programs come on, if it goes in a certain direction, I'm like, nope, can't do that.
Yeah.
It's funny because back in the day, Charles, I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, I think they do it now, but not so often. Back in the day, they say, this show is mature content.
Mature content
only.
You don't get nothing no more.
Basically, my mama would make me leave out the room.
Yeah.
Guess who's still leaving the room?
Yeah.
I'm still leaving the room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But here's where I'm kind of going with this too. That I'm not just dependent on my external things in terms of what stimulates me externally.
Yeah.
Because it's always been there.
Yeah.
Now it's even more there. It's amplified.
Yeah.
Now I really got to learn how to shut that stuff out from the inside. That I can't allow my outside stuff to always dictate what my behavior should be. I can't always allow my outside stuff to infiltrate my mind and have me thinking one way. Now, Charles, I got to begin to exercise some self-control. Yeah. I can't just let my thoughts wander all over the place. Now I got to bring my mind in and begin to actually exercise some self-control over me. Because if I don't exercise self-control over me, I guarantee you everything else in this world will try to influence and control me if I don't control me.
Wow.
And I could take it a step further, but I'm going to leave it right there. Everybody else who knows where the next step is, you know what's up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's out here. And so here's the bigger picture holistically if we look at it like this.
Mm-hmm.
These are like I'm focusing on the things that occur when we are either, maybe not married yet, but maybe you're just flat out organically single, or you're in a relationship, but you're still doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
What happens? So let's start with the man.
Yeah.
If the man who desires a woman, a wife, and all of those things, but he's saying to himself, she'll come along one of these days soon, and I'm going to meet her, and we're going to do this, that, and the other.
Right.
At home, he's practicing perfecting this life of himself, pleasing himself, right? Okay. But at the same time, all that's stuck in his brain is the images, what he see on this porn. True. So what happens is when he does meet this great woman that's supposed to be in his world,
Right.
instead of him being normal, and when I say normal, I don't mean boring, but instead of him handling her respectively, right? He's now wanting her to recreate the porn scene.
That he saw, right.
He wants her to be the porn star, and she could be attractive, have a body, be sexy, or not have such a whatever. She could have the things about her that are alluring, right? And could turn you on just in that. Right. But she's still not that woman or those women. And so and the biggest mistake I think men make a lot is we underestimate the power of connection between our partners and ourselves.
Yeah.
Really, women are so reciprocal. If you have a strong connection with a woman, and I say strong connection first, and if she trusts you, women will do just about whatever with you. Right. If she trusts you and you have that kind of connection with her. Right. If she doesn't, she's gonna look at you like you're crazy and you can forget about it. But the point I'm saying is, and on the other hand, you have women who have been serial single for so long that they've mastered these toys, right? It's just they got it to a science to bring themselves to an expected end. Okay. So when they meet the guy, just like him in the porn and wanting her to be the porn star, she's expecting him to perform like the toy.
Got it.
Be consistent and bring me to this end every time at the same time in the right way and blah, blah, blah. And it's not that a connection is not beautiful and that a person can come to you and love you in a way that you're like, this is amazing. But we close that out to our own devices when we overdo and overstimulate our own selves. Now, when it's time to come together, we got all these expectations and weird thoughts and fixations because we've been doing all this stuff by ourselves so long. Right. So it makes the connection crazy. You know what I mean?
So I would propose that we are looking at sex from the wrong vantage point. What I mean by that is, if I love my wife like I say that I do, and we are in our, making love or whatever like that, my job as a husband is to please her.
Yeah.
That's it. My job is to, that look right that you did. My job is to please. I know, because here's what I'm doing. I'm taking me out of the equation in terms of me trying to get her to do what I want her to do.
Yeah.
I am pleasing her. Before anything happens here, my job is to please her. I listen, let me just say this real quick. Everybody who's watching, I need y'all in the comments right now. If there was any other topic that you were going to join in on, this is the topic today. Let's go. Okay. My job as a husband is to please my wife.
Yeah.
But the same is also true for my wife.
Yeah.
That her job as a wife is to please her husband. So my point in saying is that we're looking at sex from the wrong vantage point is the fact that we're looking at sex as something that pleases us and it's just for us. And we're just doing it for us. That is a very narrow, selfish vantage point. It's a very narrow perspective to have, that it's all about you. If you're in a relationship, it's not all about you. It's about the both of you, right?
Yeah.
And so if I'm in this relationship and as a husband, my job is to please you, to make you happy, to bring you satisfaction. That's my job. Okay? And her job is to do the same for me. So if I'm going into the whole activity thinking just about how I want to feel, then I have neglected my job as a husband. I am doing a disservice to her because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. If you're in the relationship just for you, get out now. Leave.
So someone brought up a point earlier that this is the reason, and I'm not saying that, I don't know, I'm not saying this about this person. I'm not saying they're selfish, but I'm just making a point.
Yeah.
Mayana brought up something earlier, and she says, is the dependence because of fear of connection and the possibility of being hurt.
Yeah.
So we are selfish. A lot of people come into the world today when they're dating, getting married. If you notice, this is the most self-serving time ever to be, and we do it while in connection.
Right.
We have a whole wife, whole husband, and still live together selfishly.
Right.
I do this for me. You do that over there for you. It's almost like there's always this looming fear of just in case.
Just in case, yeah.
Let me make sure. That's a whole show. Just in case. Yeah, just in case. Let me make sure I got a rainy fund, a backup bank account, or this, that, and other, a side boo I can call. Everything nowadays is no confidence in the union. It is, I'm here because I want to be married. I want a husband. I want a wife, but I don't really trust that it's going to work out. Yeah. So as a result of that, I need to prepare myself with all of these just in cases. And so intimacy is no different. We come into the bedroom. Yes, I'm your wife or I'm your husband. You can have me, but if you're not going to have me and make sure I'm good, I'm going to make sure I'm good.
Right.
And it comes to the thing of it's me first. That's the culture today. Me first, and I think about you afterwards. But me first. And and the way you said it, if people went into it saying, I love my wife, so I'm going to take care of you.
Right.
I love my husband, I'm going to take care of you. We would have more happier relationships and marriages.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, before you even get to the bedroom, what you got? What you working with? You got me. Everything is me. What tools do you bring to this to make sure I'm good? Right. Or how often you gonna make sure I'm good? And it's very. You hear more people say they're more quick to say what they're not getting rather than to say what do you need. You rarely do you hear somebody say, babe. And if you're a man or a woman and you have a person that says to you, what do you need? That's a good person.
Yeah.
Most people are going to say, you haven't done this lately. You are not doing this. Okay. It's two people in this. Yeah. So if you're seeing about me and I'm seeing about you, we shouldn't have a problem.
We should.
But unfortunately, nowadays, it is, you're not doing this. You're not doing that. And then the other person is like, well, I guess what I need don't matter. It's on the back burner. And so that's why people back up and they go to their own devices because they feel like if we're going to do this thing selfishly, let me do selfish all the way in the pain and see about myself. Because you obviously not seeing about me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'm gonna piggyback off of what you just said, and I didn't want to lose that thought, so I had to type it down. And that is the fact that if we're being honest and truthful today with our conversation, relationships are not easy. They're not hard every day.
Yeah.
But they're also not easy every day either.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there are moments when in your mind you're thinking, I'm not getting all I want to get.
Wow.
She not doing it the way I want her to do it. He not doing it the way I want. That's a reality.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's a reality. That's a reality that you have to grapple with. The problem comes in at, Charles, is when we take that issue or that frustration and we don't say anything about it. Or we keep it to ourselves. We bottle it up. And we're not willing to communicate to our person, hey, I'm feeling neglected in this area. Hey, I feel like you don't see about me in this particular thing. Hey, I don't know I don't know what's happening between us right now. And often, you have to take the chance and talk about how you feel about this.
Wow.
Even when it comes to your own sex life with your partner. Hey, babe, blah, 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 the other night. Blah, 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 blah. Didn't feel so great. Let's talk about it.
Wow.
Because if we're in a safe space within our relationship, that I'm hoping that we have a safe space within our relationship where I can talk about how I really feel, then I should be able to say what's really happening with me and not bottle it up on the inside, keeping it on the inside.
Okay, so in that same vein, what if the person's response was, man, I don't know. I just think I had an off night. Then where does it go from there? Does that satisfy it, or does there need to go further?
Well, it depends on the person, whether or not they are willing to accept that as a satisfactory answer, or do they need further explanation to explain to them why they had an off night. Maybe something else was on their mind. Maybe they weren't completely focused on the activity. Maybe they were just completely somewhere else and they weren't thinking about it. Again, Charles, that has to be an honest conversation.
Yeah.
You can't sit here and bottle this stuff up and keep it to yourself, and you don't tell me about it. And then I'm wondering why certain things happen or didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm feeling left out in the cold. No, we need to talk about this. We need to share about that. Okay, so let's push it just a little bit further. Let's push it a little further. So we're not having no problems. So we good. And I'm thinking in my mind, maybe we should try this or maybe we should try that. Again, that means I got to get out there and have a conversation with you and talk about this thing. I'm not going to just bust in the room with all these different things. All of a sudden, you got this big old bag of tricks. You walked in the room with, hey, let's try this. They gonna look at you like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's important to say this. We didn't talk about this earlier, but let's just call the elephant out in the room.
Yeah.
Toys, on one hand, for some people, they're going to be like, oh, man, Adam and Charles, we have a great time, me and my person. We enjoy this, right? We've been doing this for years. Then on the other hand, toys can clash with intimacy because they can create disconnect between the partners. They can cause feelings of insecurity or discomfort. Okay. Especially when, like you said earlier, when you haven't discussed it,
right?
And the person just slams it on you. It becomes so. You went to now. You're thinking the person comes home. You see this bag on the bed, and you say, "So you didn't talk to me, but you went online and ordered, used the credit card, ordered all this, put it in your cart, and had it delivered home, and you just now talk about it now." So if a person is that calculated to do that, that problem has been pre-existing for a long time.
Right.
They just happen to buy it that day, but they've been thinking about how unsatisfactory that experience has been for a while. Right. They just now go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I wasn't going to see. Okay. Let me flip it that. Let me flip that again. So let's not say that it has that it has been unsatisfactory. Let's just say they're thinking of exploring something else. They're thinking of they want to enhance their experience. Okay. They want to do something more than what they've been doing before.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, this has to be a conversation that takes place.
Wow. You
don't want the other person to feel like they have to do this because you brought it in the room. See, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but
come on.
Sex should be enjoyable, right?
Yeah.
And we should not be making anybody do something that they don't want to do, right?
I think
my point is we should not be making any. If you don't want to do it, then you should not be doing it. And this is where we kind of where the disconnect is sometimes. That sometimes you're engaging in the act, but you really don't want to engage in the act. But you engage in the act because the other person wants to engage in the act.
Right.
All I'm saying is, let's talk about it.
No, that's key because sometimes those acts and those toys that are being introduced are lifelines that have not been communicated. And the lifeline is, they have already talked about it to somebody else. I don't know, I can't really do this. It's just not working. So when they bring this toy home or when they ask you to do something a little special for some change with them, they're saying it because if we can't elevate to this level where I can get this type of feeling that I want, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to remain faithful.
And see, this is the problem.
That's why they had to talk, like you said, talk. Yeah, for sure.
This is the problem. Again, if I'm making love to my wife, my job is to make sure that she is pleased, that she is satisfied. The same goes true for her on my side. So if I'm going into the activity with just what I want out of it, and it leaves her unsatisfied, she's going to be frustrated. As rightly she should be. Frustrated. Mad. Okay? That ain't cool, man. That's not, because to be in a relationship, we have a dynamic where we should be giving each other love, right? This should be a relationship of cooperation, not coercion. We should be working with one another in this in a synergistic way that helps each other get to where we're going together, not separately. We're supposed to be working hand in hand with this.
But separately comes along when they don't have confidence in the act. And so the thing is, you said something. So you said something. You said my job is to please her and her job is to please me. The most important thing about that whole exchange is understanding what pleases her and her understanding what pleases you. Because if we just walk in the room and I be like, I'm finna please you, what I think pleases you might be like this, that. I mean, it's okay. It's not giving what I need. And you're thinking, well, I did all of this, but you haven't. Sometimes we have to put our pride aside and say, I know I like to do this. I enjoy being the aggressor or doing this, that, and the other. Let me take a step back and ask you, what do you like? What pleases you? What are your tap outs? What are your hot buttons or whatever the case is? I'm not saying tell you, but let the person, like, don't lead somebody on a rabbit like you're looking for, like you just kind of on a hunt. Let people know what you like. And when you let them know that, then you can go back and complain about what's not right and what's not working. But at least tell them up front. It's almost like at work. If you start a new job, the first thing they're going to say, we want to make sure we give you all of the tools that makes you successful. So it's no different in intimacy. If you want to be with your person and you want to make one another happy, you got to say, okay, what is it that you like specifically? Don't give me no broad answer from the last three dudes. Tell me what you like from me, and then let's go from there. You know what I'm saying? Do it like that.
I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I would even add to that even while you're in the midst of it, that you pay attention to the cues that they're giving you when they like something, when they don't like something. Because if you're just in it for you, you will miss the cues. You will miss the different things that they do. All because you're into you and you're not into them. You're not paying attention to them. And so, again, you need to pay attention to your cues. Okay? Listen, understand. Even in the midst of it, hey, you good? We good? It's all right?
I'm telling you, listen, sex can be completely. Now, I want the church to close their ears for a second. But anyway.
No. That's the problem right there.
Okay, listen. Sex can be a completely different experience for two people that are focused during the act. You're focused on each other. She focusing on what I need to do. He focusing on what he needs to do, and nobody's thinking selfishly. Nobody is paying attention to what's not happening. You're distracted because you're like, wait, leave me alone. I'm pleasing my man. Wait, leave me alone. I'm pleasing my woman. And you in this mode, and it's like you're not thinking about those things that may not be perfect. because you're in this spirit of basically it's a love gumbo brewing. And you're like, we doing this, and I'm doing this for my person. I know she like this. And listen, it don't take a rocket science to not be able to pick up on reaction.
Right.
If you're a smart person, you know what's working and what's not. If it don't seem like it's working, then you need to adjust.
Right.
Do something else, right? But don't keep trying to do something that don't work. So that's part of understanding your person and what they like, and then you'll become that person that's more consistent to what they like of a lover. You know what I mean? That kind of
thing. I've said it on occasion. I think I've said it probably. I was almost maybe last year or year before last when I said this, but and this is just in a very broader sense of what we're talking about, and that is really becoming a student of your partner. And what I mean by that is going to their school, learning them, understanding them, digging deep into them, really being current with them. You're not operating off past information, but you're operating off of current information as to who they are today. Not who they were yesterday or who they were 15 years ago, but who they are today. And then it's in this way that we're able to please them in a way that actually brings satisfaction to them.
Wow.
Because again, if you're not trying to please them, if you're not studying them, if you're not paying attention to them, and it's all about you, and it's all about what you want to do, you're going to lose out. Not only will you lose out, but you will lose them, and you're going to be all by yourself again. Yeah. So it's important that you pay attention to the person that you're with, and the hope is that they are also pay attention to you.
Yes. Let me tap into something really quick with Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce says, what about the effect of the soul ties, which is very key. Let me tell you.
Okay.
If like knowing what I know in life now and learns and things I've been through and learned, if I were to do it all over again, I would suggest women do the same thing and men do the same thing. It may sound brash, but it is very relevant and people need to do it. When you meet someone, not just dating and talking on the phone and seeing what you want to do, but when you make the decision, I think I want to allow you to get to know me and I the same. And we're going to do this relationship and let's move along. The first thing you need to know off the break is who is inside of you still. First off the break.
Wow.
Because a lot of people have mastered loving while still carrying. Mm-hmm. They're loving, they call themselves liking you and getting to know you, but that other person or those other people are still apparent. Wow. And it's for the man, it's for the women. When we make these connections like we do, we go out here and do these turn-ups and have these amazing sexual sessions and all these things are happening. When you leave them, you may leave them physically, but you don't always leave them spiritually. And so a lot of these mountains we're trying to eclipse and amass and climb with the other person in terms of pleasing them, you will never get to the top because you're not those people. And some of these soul ties that we haven't addressed prevent us from real intimacy because we're too stubborn to realize we haven't let someone or something go. And the thing of it is what we don't understand, and this is a reality. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, when you meet someone new, it's beautiful, and you're like, oh, I met someone the other day, this is gonna be great. But the thing you don't keep into mind, you met the person and they're interested and they like you, but 9 times out of 10, their last sexual partner was within that month or within a month. Okay. It ain't too many people that's going to be honest and tell you that, but they're not just saying, oh, I was with someone 3 years ago when I just got a divorce. You got a divorce, but you were having sex in between.
Right.
You might not have got another man or another relationship or another husband, but you were not having sex. Right. So we don't tell those things, but those things are significant. Who he's sleeping with is significant because who he's sleeping with is the person you need to be concerned with showing up at his door.
Wow.
Or when you out out at dinner on this new date popping up. Because I'm gonna be honest, men, if we're honest, when men are moving on with their life, they don't always put the last woman to bed accordingly. They don't put her to bed accordingly. They let her live in purgatory while they call themselves going on about their business.
Right.
They gonna go about their business, and then when they see you, you know we ain't together like that. Well, Negro, you didn't tell me that. Right here, and you over here with this person building some whole new blocks.
Right.
But I'm still here. So the point is, we have to learn to put people properly to bed. When you're not dealing with them, we address the soul ties by being honest and putting them properly to bed. Hey, you and I had this thing and it was great. I cared a lot about you, but relationally, we don't click very well. So I don't think we need to continue this. But keep in mind, like I said, I don't have no qualms. I don't hate you, but I can't continue to leave this open between us. So at least you gave the person the truth.
Right.
Now you can deal with the truth. They can deal with the truth. And you can take your time, and you're not going to always get over it, which is why I think you should rush to get in bed with somebody else. Because a lot of times we in bed loving on someone else, and when that act is over, we over there on the pillow crying, thinking about the other person. It happens all the time. You think the man thinking he thinking he doing something. Yeah, I had her crying. No, nigga, she sad about the other dude. She ain't crying because of you. She's sad because why do I have to put myself in someone's bed? It ain't about you. It's about her emotions.
Right.
So if you don't know how to work through clearing that out, you're going to spend the great part of your life in another man's or another woman's footsteps.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be able to be honest. And if nothing else is more important, I need to know where you are in your heart right now. And please be honest. You don't owe me anything. Just be honest. If there's someone sitting at the top of your heart, don't lie and say, oh, I'm good. I know I'm not worried about nobody. They didn't call me today. They don't have to call me. They don't have to call you because you're still in love with them. I bet you that one day they do call you up and go. Yeah. Whenever we don't deal with soul ties, when the people that we are harboring here calls, that person gonna get ghosted.
Oh, yeah.
And they can go right on over there to them.
Oh, yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
Believe me, because it's like, no, it's not like that. I'm gonna tell you how you know soul ties haven't been dealt with. When the person comes around in any capacity, it causes you discomfort.
Wow.
And it causes you discomfort because you are beginning to not trust yourself, but because you haven't dealt with yourself.
Right.
And because you haven't dealt with it, you don't trust who you're going to be if the person starts to come towards you.
Right.
So now it's like, I don't know if I should meet her or not. She told me that's not what we on, but I do want to see her. And because you haven't closed the door, you sneaking off to go meet the person.
Right.
Because you haven't dealt with it. So, or you still having a little secret thing that the secret lover, only you and him or her know what happened that night.
Right.
And then you're still coming back to the new person.
Right.
So it's a whole crazy thing. But believe it or not, Adam, so many people are getting engaged, getting in new relationships, and calling themselves moving on with their life with tons of bodies still not dealt with.
Oh, yeah.
And still people that they haven't dealt with, but they call themselves saying, well, I'm moving on. Just saying that you moving on is not enough.
Yeah.
You need to do the work and then move on. Yeah. We're going to say that we moving on and tell you that we want to move on, because who's not going to want to go to marriage if someone is trying to marry you and you brokenhearted? Yeah. Right. You feel like they're going to come and fix you, but it doesn't. A man or a woman can't go in and do the spiritual surgery to remove other people. The only person who can do that is you. I can be there to be your assistant, but I can't do the surgery. You got to do it. Yeah. And I think a lot of times we expect the new person to wow us so much that we just forget about the old person. Oh, this person did the opposite of everything that other person did. So now, because they've crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, I'm better. That's not how you fix soul ties.
Okay.
In fact, in some cases, as the good book says, Adam, I'm not expecting everybody to do this same thing, but some things only go out through
prayer and fasting.
Yes.
Oh Lord, Jesus.
Some things you have to spiritualize and pass it. Why do you think on What's Love Got to Do with It? Tina Turner started that numb, young. That was her way of disconnecting and dismounting. She found something else besides Ike to tap into to disconnect. Right. So when it comes to soul ties, we have to do the same thing. When it comes to something that's difficult, your other person doesn't know. So it's nothing like being with somebody who says they're with you, but they're faking it.
Right.
They're saying they're with you, but they dead in love still. But they're saying they're with you, but they still in love. And you just like, dang. So there's no way around that, you know? And then what's even frustrating is you end up ending a relationship with them, and guess where they at? Well, you know, we just started kind of talking again. No, you were texting and emailing all along. And the person was not that far away. You didn't let them go. Look, you refused to let them go.
Oh, yeah.
But if I said this a million times before, men, this is should help the ladies. I know the men gonna say, don't say this. And the ladies gonna help the ladies.
Don't say it.
Men, women recycle. Men reuse.
Yeah.
Men, when a man decides you are not wife or woman to him, he adjusts his brain accordingly, and he can click a switch and he can deal with you differently. It doesn't mean he won't touch you no more. He's just not going to commit to you no more. And I'm talking beyond words. He's not going to commit his life to you no more, because men know. Here's why ladies are saying, how you know that? Because men are some of the most, we are so territorial about who we loving. So if we remove the hedge, we done. Because we know when the hedge is removed, it's open season. And no man wants open season on a woman he loves, right? And so women, on the other hand, recycle. Women have just a habit of recycling things they think that are still deemable. And it's not that a person is not a good person. They just might not be deemable for you.
Okay.
And we have to learn to make that decision, because the relationship is bad. And 5 years later, here he comes back in the DMs. I made a mistake. I sure wish I could make good on that, because I knew a long time ago. God told me you was my wife. No. The nigga just want another ride around the track. He knew a long time ago when he left you 5 years ago, he was good with leaving you 5 years ago. He came back. Men are impulsive. We can see a post. She looking good. Look at Jasmine. All right, we're getting her DM. You got a whole woman, whole wife, but you got that soul tie in your brain. So you saw her and you want her.
Right.
You got a person, but you want what you saw. You don't want the work of recultivating and dealing with her again, but you want her in the moment. So you put yourself in the moment to get her, and she's thinking, he says he's going to do differently this time. No, he not. He reusing. That's what he's doing. And so that's the difference. I think if we fix that logic, I think if men started recycling and women did not allow the reusing, we will be great.
Right.
I just think we need to figure that out. But I think that's how we get a little, discombobulated. But all right, people.
Lord have mercy.
I had a story, but I'll save it for another day.
Jesus.
Toy Story, look like the movie. I had a Toy Story, but I'll save it for another day.
Oh my God.
Anyway, we appreciate you guys for tuning in today to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, where we spoke about love toys. Basically, are they Basically, are they something that adds to the experience or take away from the experience? And so we hope you guys were able to get something out of this, keeping in mind that we're just giving our opinions.
Right.
And we're just saying if this stuff works for you guys, then it works. She said, is this the regular show or the after show? Oh, sorry, Dion. I know I didn't go. I was acting like I was in the after show. All right.
I know, right?
But no, that's just real talk, though. But yeah. All right. So next week, what you got to say, Adam? Next week, 4:30, we're gonna be back again on Thursday. You crazy Thursday. And so I'll tell y'all, you guys, okay, 2 minutes. I'm gonna be done with this.
Do it in the after show. Come on, let's do it in the after show.
Do it. Okay, all right, fine. Okay, after show. See you guys in a minute. All right, dang, man. Okay. Hold on.
I need to put a gospel record on now. Let me get my Bible. Let me start reading some word, man. Oh my God.
Hey, this might, matter of fact, this might make you have a great night tonight after the show. You're like, Maria, I'm ready to do something different. You're like, what you talking about? No, I'm just for real. Leave them things out the road. Don't bring them in here. No,
what?
No, for real. This is just it's a half joke of a story, but it is true.
Okay.
When it comes, like we were talking about earlier, when people show up with equipment, you'd be like, what in the world?
Right.
So I can remember an instance. This is probably the one instance in life that it was probably vocalized. Let's put it that way. If it had not been for the situation, I'm going to be clean about it, being okay before this, I could see how it could make a man feel away, right? If it wasn't already something that you experienced beforehand. Like if I had came into the situation and this was introduced on the jump, I'd have been like, okay, what's up with this? But I remember being in a situation and I was dealing with this person, and I remember the person, it happened kind of like on the fluke. So it was funny, but the person and I had stopped the situation, right? Stop them being clean. The situation ended. Then next thing I know, all I heard, Adam, was, and I said, what is this going on here? I'm sitting there, I promise you, that's how it took me off guard, Adam. So I'm sitting here like, I thought it was done and over with. So I'm there, and I just hear some, and I'm just like, what in the world is this? Because it was, listen, I always shake myself up. I know what clippers sound like, right? It was very similar. Right. It was very faint. It wasn't loud. It was faint. So that's why I was like, what in the world is this? Because the person had kind of put the cover over their head.
Oh.
Okay. And so when the person, I said, what is going on? So go ahead, Bruce. So the person, Adam, I asked him, I said, what is that? Because it wasn't a traditional V as I had known them to be.
Okay.
I said, what is this? This is pop, man. This is back in, I don't know, this was way, it wasn't like, this was about over 15, 16, whatever years ago. Make a long story short, the person had what they referred to as a rabbit.
Okay.
They called it a rabbit or whatever. And I was like, what the blank is that? And so I said, so what is this for? And she was just simply saying, I just like to put a little icing on the cake. And so I said, icing on the cake. I said, well, I thought people put icing on the cake before you consume it. So she said, well, right. Like whatever icing. I said, but are you good though? She was like, yeah, I'm good. This is just me. And you know what she said? Because then I wasn't gonna let it go. I said, but are you sure this is kind of weird? So she said, her words were, when you've been single for a while, she said, it's just things you learn to do for yourself.
Wow.
That's exactly what she said. She said, when you're single for a while and it becomes like your best friend, she said, literally, I keep this in my purse. And I said, well, this is kind of goes beyond the room. I said, perhaps you need to sit on someone's couch. No, but anyway, so she laughed. She was like, probably, but she laughed. She said, probably. But I was just saying, you know, it's like even though it was a joke, I'm playing about it, but in the moment, whenever someone, at any time, when you find yourself at a place where you feel one thing isn't enough or that you need something else psychologically, you got to talk about it. If not to the person, to somebody, because sometimes we are more hypersexual than we are aware of. True. And if you're a person that's hypersexual, a regular sexual situation is not going to do for you. Right. So you need to have that kind of communication to be able to understand if you are compatible. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? And
so you know what's funny? So I actually had in my notes, and I didn't say anything about it, but in my notes, I had typed down the word survey. And so
that'd be a good idea.
So the basic premise is this, is that after everything is all said and done, that you check in with them. Hey,
are you good?
Are you good? Did that make you happy? Did that please you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing, though, and I don't want to make this any longer than what it already is. This is going on. Just
yes. All right, go ahead.
But the purpose of the survey, and this is just funny, is to check in with them to see if they are satisfied. You know, when you get sometimes you get those surveys in work.
Yeah,
they ask you certain questions, blah 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 blah. You know, how did it? You know, how was the service? Would you recommend it? That whole thing or whatever, right?
It's great. I'm having that Bruce, but go ahead.
Yeah. You know what's up. But even to your story, Charles, I really do believe that, and this requires the relationship to be a honest, transparent communication, so that you say what you really mean.
Yeah,
that you're not sitting here trying to protect your feelings because you didn't do what I needed you to do to bring me complete satisfaction.
Yeah.
I'm willing to say that it did not happen, but I'm also willing to have a conversation about it. And I think what happens is often because the other person is not satisfied, they don't say they're not satisfied. They keep it to themselves.
Wow.
They don't share that information with you. Well, here's the thing. If I am going to get better at pleasing you,
you need to tell me.
Know that I did not please you, and I need to figure out what happened. But again, here's the thing: this conversation can only happen in a transparent, mature, secure, and safe relationship.
Yeah, no, you're right. But it takes someone to be mature to the point where you are like, you got to be able to, if you want to have these kind of conversations, because unlike at work, when they send out these, they call them pulse surveys, they're anonymous.
Right.
See, the point is you can be honest and say how you feel about the organization,
Right.
and nobody's supposed to be, your boss can't see them, whoever. So when it comes to, I mean, by the way, look, Adam, you need to coin this. If I'm
What's
you, you need to trademark the sexual survey. That'll be awesome. Have a sexual survey for couples. That'll be amazing. But the point I'm saying is when you are, when you talk about a person, that's you talk about, you better have a safe space.
You do.
To be able to speak your truth about what you didn't like. Because so many of us, if there's not a time where you can see someone's insecurity, it is something sexual.
Yeah.
You bring up somebody's performance or equipment or lack thereof, oh, you got a problem. So you got to establish that kind of comfort level between one another to be able to say, I love you, right? Yeah. And I ain't never going nowhere, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But do you think, can we work on blah, blah, blah? I thought you like this. Not really. You kind of don't do this right. If somebody be like, you know what, go find somebody else. So that's the first thing people say, get mad at what you need.
So it's a two-way street, Charles. It's a two-way street. Really quick. You need to be able to say what it is, the fact that you weren't satisfied, but the other person needs to be able to receive what you said. Because if any one of these two are out of whack, this doesn't work.
Yeah, it don't work.
It doesn't work. So I need to be able to say, I wasn't satisfied. You need to be able to hear, I wasn't satisfied.
Yeah.
And so together, we work out a solution.
Yeah.
We work out a solution to this.
Because
right there.
Because if we're honest, most of us, if we're honest with ourselves, everybody knows where they fall short.
True.
They just don't want they live life hoping you don't acknowledge it. Well, everybody knows.
I don't necessarily think that. I think sometimes you do what you know to do, what you've always done, but that might not necessarily work for this particular person that you're with. Yeah. It's not until you have a conversation with them to actually find out what actually does work for them that you actually know. Up until then, you don't know. You're presuming. You're operating off of a presumption. Yeah, and so now you're just doing what you know to do, but you're not doing what actually they want you to do, what they need you to do. And we've gone.
This is good stuff, man. It's a good session.
Yeah.
No, we appreciate you guys holding on. I know this was we didn't really unplug, but this is unplug, and we definitely Dion says get comfortable telling your partner what you want during the app instead of waiting after. All right.
I said that. Pay attention to the cues.
But then if somebody do that, they're going to say, well, you can go home and get up. That's it. You don't like it. People get mad. Look, you tell somebody in a minute, they be all like, baby. I wish you would go just a little further. That's all I got. I'm done.
I can't. Help us, Lord.
No, I'm kidding.
Jesus, man.
Oh, God. But anyway, all right. We appreciate you guys once again for hanging with us. We come back next week. Adam, what I really wanted to dig into today, we'll do it another time. But I had a show that was triggered by that Neo stuff about having all these wives. We talk about that
polyamory.
Yeah. All right, y'all. See y'all next week. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. It's in there. I'm trying to tell you, boy. It's crazy. All right, y'all. We call it y'all next time.
Peace, y'all. Peace. Right. Oh my God, man.